Uppermost in our minds for the last week or 10 days has been constantly seeing in the news the devastation of the Hurricane Harvey in Texas and Louisiana and the cities around Houston. It's heart-wrenching, isn't it, just to see the destruction of people's homes. More than 40 people have died. Just can't imagine what it would be like to have 60 inches of rain fall on us. And when you look and see that people's homes are totally destroyed, everything they have, it's just heartbreaking. But it's also heartening to see that so many hundreds of people are going to their rescue. People are reaching out in every way possible to give them help. And I know we all feel the same way too. What can we do? The diocese has asked that next Sunday we take up a second collection for the people's needs in the hurricane-torn areas of Texas. And so we'll take up a second collection next week. The notice came in after the bulletin went to print, so it's not in the bulletin, but if you can remember to be prepared to make a good donation next week. If you do write a check, make it out to St. Patrick's Parish, because we will deposit all of this into our checking account and then forward it to the diocese. The money will be given to the St. Vincent de Paul Society, the National St. Vincent de Paul Society. They are already doing a great deal to help the people there, and we want to help them to continue to do so. This week we will celebrate on Tuesday the installation of Bishop Nelson Perez as our next bishop. It's a monumental and historical time in our diocese, and so he needs our prayers too as he takes on the very huge task of pastoring the whole Diocese of Cleveland, 8 counties. It's a lot of parishes. So far, he seems to be so delighted that he's here. If you look in the bulletin, there's information on watching it on television, listening to it on the radio, seeing it on the internet. They're going to be televising it and showing it in so many different mediums. So we put in there where you can go to see it. Unfortunately, not everyone can get into the cathedral. Most of the guests will be us priests, I think. There'll probably be about 300 of us there. And so keep him in your prayers in our diocese, in our parish. He seems to be a true pastor, and I think he's going to be a blessing for our diocese. Jesus in the gospel today tells us that we are to take up our cross and follow him. We hear that often, but what's really behind that statement? He's saying, whoever wishes to come after me must deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me. Underlying that question is, do you love me? And if we say, yes, Lord, I love you, then we will take up our crosses and carry them. We will follow Jesus. We will try to do the things that the Lord asks us to do. That's all being faithful disciples. And so that question, do you love me? The hurricane, there's another hurricane heading towards the Bahamas. And I have many friends in the Diocese of Nassau in the Bahamas, including Archbishop Pinder and Monsignor Preston Moss, the Vicar General. I visited with them several times with Father Tim O'Connor, my best friend. We went on vacation there a number of times, and we met the bishop and Monsignor Moss. And one night we were having dinner with Monsignor Moss, and he shared a story with us. He said that it's customary in the Bahamas that on Sunday Masses every week, the priest calls all the children to come up around the altar, and he asks them questions and then instructs them on some aspect of the faith. And so one Sunday he called all the children up to the altar at St. Anselm's where he was pastor. And he asked them, do you love Jesus? And all together they said, yes, we love Jesus. And then he asked them, how do you know that you love Jesus? And he said, instantly, one little boy said, because he's with me. He's right here, and pointed to his heart. He said he needed to say no more. The child gave a very profound answer. I love Jesus, and I know I do because he's with me right here. And I think that's a great story for us to think about. Can we answer it the same way, that Jesus isn't just this person that we know about, but it's this loving God who's right here within us and among us? And if we are, then we're certainly consoled, and it gives us the ability to carry our crosses. We will all have crosses to carry, whether we want them or not, whether we believe in Jesus or not. Part of human life is suffering. But we have to follow Jesus' example and work through it, live through it. And that's where we don't just fall underneath the cross and give up. We pick it up and we keep going. Jesus fell under the cross 3 times on his way to Calvary. And yet he just kept getting up and going on. And he asks us to do the same thing, to carry the cross, not to just deny it, not just to fall underneath it or to give up or despair, but to carry it because Jesus is carrying it with us. And that's a consoling thought for me, and I hope it is for you as well. And if we do that, we're going to find ourselves much closer to the Lord. Let's conclude with this prayer that was turned into form of a poem. It was found in the pocket of a dead Confederate soldier. Thought in our time, what's going all on with controversies over the Confederate statues and cemeteries, it might be good for us to hear this was found in a Confederate soldier's pocket after he died. It says, I asked for health that I might do greater things. I was given infirmity that I might do better things. I asked for riches that I might be happy. I was given poverty that I might be wise. I asked for power that I might have the praise of men. I was given weakness that I might feel the need of God. I asked for all things that I might enjoy life. I was given life that I might enjoy all things. I got nothing I asked for, but everything I hoped for. Almost despite myself, my unspoken prayers were answered. I am among all men most richly blessed. It's a good prayer to think about, that God has given us sometimes the opposite of what we ask, but in the end, he brings greater benefit to our lives. So we trust in the Lord today. Thank him for his presence with us, especially right here.